LTTS has tied up with BSNL to deploy private 5G networks for enterprises in India. What kind of opportunity would this entail? Let's and the implications of such a move. Let's get in Amit Chadha, CEO and MD of LTTS, on the conversation. Amit, great having you. Thanks for taking the time out. Hope all is well.
All is well, and thank you so much, Neeraj, for having me here today.
The pleasure is ours. Amit, tell us a bit about this tie-up.
So, Neeraj, if you step back and look at what 5G, and I would actually now not just say 5G, but Wi-Fi 6 as well as potentially 6G will have an implication on global economy is to the tune of about $1.3 trillion, right? If I take that and I then pare that down to the total addressable market for people like us, that stands at about 70 odd billion dollars, give or take some. This is from network rollouts, maintenance, managed services, as well as integration. So if you look at India today, there is an opportunity to roll out private 5G for enterprises, and there is opportunity world over to do that. So we are tying up with different operators and OEMs and providers in different parts of the world. This tie-up with BSNL is for India, and you will see subsequent announcements as well as we tie up with others. So we are extremely excited about what the opportunity holds for us as a company and the technology that we have developed to be rolled out.
Interesting. So at least we think that India has not quite been at the forefront of this whole 5G rollout. You're talking about 6G as well, but be that as it may, and you've tied up with BSNL currently, and I heard you said that you will do the similar types with other companies in other geographies as well. So how does this work? Does the monetization of such an opportunity start very, very quickly, or is it a bit delayed per se? And what's the kind of opportunity set? What's the kind of investment that you need to make for the same?
Sure. So number one, if you look at the kind of assets we've already built, so there's a platform we've built called CogniView that provides a platform for people that are looking for a NOC for a network operations center for a hire. We've developed our own tools called as an IntelliAgent tool we have developed for network assurance that actually tells you how much is your network bandwidth as opposed to what it was supposed to be. And there's a host of other tools like iKnow, etc., that we have created in-house. Now we get two or three things. One, we've got a team ready with architects that can go architect the solution. We've got our own platforms that we can deploy. Of course, the bandwidth comes from BSNL in this case. If you remember, about 9 months ago, we had tied up with Qualcomm, or earlier we had tied up with Qualcomm for a use case of 5G in the US. We have tied up with NVIDIA and Mavenir for a use case of 5G in Europe, in the dark region. So we continue to leverage our skills. We continue to leverage the platforms that we have built to be able to take it forward. Now, in terms of monetization, these are, first you've got to set up these alliances to be able to make sure that you can go to market together, and you can get a hold of larger market share, if I may. Second, then comes the actual rollouts and the proof of concepts, and then the rollouts, if I may. So there are some in the hopper in India. We are already rolling out 5G for a couple of our customers in the US. We've got one going on right now in Germany, and we'll continue to see that progress as we go forward.
Yeah. So does a large portion of this get staggered out over a period of time? I'm trying to understand if this is more a string of pearls which brings in opportunity set large enough over a period of years, or does it come front-ended?
No, you can consider this as being something that allows us to be able to monetize some of this starting to come in as soon as let's say a quarter two. But then it has a period of relationship that ramps up. We see this as a 3-year horizon, if I may, from that standpoint.
Okay. I mean, your expertise is ubiquitous. You get newer partners. So that is, I believe, the modus operandi that you spoke about. Are these as, how do I say, remunerative on the returns front as some of the other higher IRR projects that you would do on the cutting edge of technology? How does that work?
So, so think about this as a way to extend our service offering and go to market, right? Both of those, and these are needed, and the projects that you get will be on the back of some of these announcements and arrangements as well. So finally, the paying customer is a third party, and the paying customer will pay based on these alliances, these tie-ups, these arrangements that you set up.
Okay. One slightly academic question, if you
And
will.
I'm sorry,
Please.
and to get to this, you've got to be able to make sure that you have the right talent. You've got to make sure you have the right platforms. Like I talked about CogniView, there's another one, G Edge, IntelliAgent. So you've got to be able to have these components, if I may, to be able to make sense out of this and then go do the tie-ups and take it forward.
Okay. And which is your investment in both relationships as well as employees, but nothing
Yes.
to, okay, great. A bit of an academic question, if you will, Amit. I heard you mention in this conversation about the kind of opportunity size that, say, for example, 6G brings to players such as yours. It's also competitive with both local and global players vying for the same pie, as it always is. I'm just trying to understand, how does this pie get distributed? Are you, by virtue of the partnerships that you are doing, amongst the first movers, or is everybody moving simultaneously? Give us some idea.
So it is a competitive landscape. You're very right, Neeraj. It is. There are two or three parts to this. We've always thought about the world as being, first you got to create the solutions for people to come to you, right? Rather than going to the people without a solution. So we've actually now invested in four different labs with use cases throughout the world. So in California, in Munich, in Mysore, and in Chennai and Bangalore. So there are five labs that we have set up for 5G and an interplay of Wi-Fi 6 in certain places. And we actually leverage these labs to create the use cases and then see how the response time is, how the latency is, etc. Once we've been able to do that, we while we are doing that, we also create our own platforms. Right? These platforms allow our people to be able to dabble with new technology. It allows people to be able to understand the limits and the outer criteria, inner criteria with the use cases, and then it allows us to be able to be ready when clients come in. Not only that, we've actually invested in creating these 5G kits, for the lack of a better word, and we can actually do a smart deployment, a cradle to grave, very quickly, and we've been able to cut down cycle times, I believe, by about 40% with these kits that we have developed. So you put all this together as you go to the market, and of course, with that comes these relationships, these alliances that help you to be able to fortify it further. So no doubt, it is a competitive market, but it is based on solutioning, it is based on use cases, it is based on being able to get to the market.
Okay. My final question: does this get clubbed under telecom, and therefore, from where
Yes.
telecom is, does it move up materially in 2-3 years' time? I mean, because you're growing in all areas, but I'm just saying the size of the market opportunity seems pretty large here when you speak about it.
Yes, not only that, it actually does. And very interestingly, we've been able to use comms, or we call it now next gen comms. We've been able to leverage next gen comms actually across as a horizontal for our enterprise customers. So people that are in the automotive sector, people that are in the oil and gas sector, people that we've got as that are current customers that are in the CPG sector, right? All of these are potential prospects slash clients for us with the next gen communication piece that we have developed. We've been successful so far, early green shoots in terms of what we've seen after we purchased or we came together, right, is the right word, with L&T Smart World. And we've been able to leverage that in the US, in Europe, and now we're doing this formal tie-up in India. And I believe this all augurs for a higher growth at our regular margins.
Okay. Well, exciting times. I understand results are around the corner, so I won't ask you too much about how the quarter has gone by. We'll talk about it when the numbers do. But all the best for this very interesting phase of growth that you are trying to achieve.
Yes, thank you so much. Appreciate the time. I look forward to talking to you once you announce our results in July.
Most certainly, Amit. Thank you for taking the time
Take
out,
care.
and viewers, thanks for tuning in.